I wanted to do a video about why people don't use Linux, but they really do. They just don't know it. Why most people don't use Linux on their desktop or laptop is because it doesn't come pre-installed on their computer. People like simple, so they just go to the store and buy a computer and use it. It has more steps to install it on their computer, so Linux has more steps than just buying a computer. You have to do a few steps, which we'll talk about later. If the users are using an Android phone, it's based on Linux. iPhones are based on Mach kernel with a Unix backend to it. This is similar to Linux, but not exactly the same thing. Web servers, most of these, like 60 to 80% worldwide, are Linux. So people really are using Linux, even though they don't think they are, especially in the case of Android and any web server they use from their computer. There's a good chance it's probably a Linux server. If you use Android phone or access the internet from your computer, you're most likely using Linux, either on the server side, or if you're using Android, you're using it right on your device. Web servers, 60 to 80% worldwide run Linux. Android phones are based on Linux. It's slightly modified, so it'll run on the hardware. Market share of Linux is rising on computers, but it's still a small percentage. It's 4.2% of the global desktop market. This used to be about 1 to 2%, so it's gone up. It dominates entirely in the enterprise and back-end infrastructure space, and it also powers 100% of the top 500 supercomputers globally, and even 60% of IoT devices. So Linux is just everywhere. Linux desktop usage is rising, as you saw, by that 4.2%. Some reasons why it's rising is people are dissatisfied with Windows. The advertising model and lack of privacy in Windows is starting to really bother some people. Some companies and people need a secure system. They want to protect their data, their business data, their client data. Even some governments use Linux to help keep a secure environment. Linux is free. You can download it, install it, and use it for free. And Linux is fast and stable. People are tired of the sudden crashes of Windows, which is the reason I switched, because of the slowness. Installing Linux opens a galaxy of possibilities. There's a lot of free software in the software store or other repositories. You can also download some of the software from websites, and usually there's a Linux version available in a lot of the software. To do a Linux install, there's more steps, like I said earlier. You first have to download a distribution, which is either Ubuntu Linux or Fedora Linux. There's a lot more you can choose from, but these two are good to start with. Then you need to get a 8 gigabyte flash drive, USB flash drive from the store, probably also a fairly large external hard drive also, so you can back up your personal files to the external hard drive if you don't have one already. Then you install Balena Etcher on your computer, which is a small program that flashes that USB drive. You plug in the USB drive, point Balena at the Linux ISO, tell it what USB drive you want to use, and then hit flash, and it will write the whole Linux ISO file to that USB flash drive. And then you're ready to install it on your computer. Make sure you back up your personal files to the external hard drive. You can insert your Linux USB into the computer and restart the computer. And then you press the boot menu key, which gives you a one-time boot menu. And that key on the different computers varies. It's usually F9 or F12 or escape. Once the boot menu comes up, select the Linux USB menu, and then when it boots, it'll give you an option to install Linux. When Linux is installed, it'll restart and then ask you to take the USB drive out. And once it's restarted and running on Linux, then you can move your personal files back to it. Thanks for watching.